What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'll be taking you on a quick tour of my home office, showing you all the essential pieces that make up a professional color grading suite. Now, to make things easier for you, I've gone ahead and linked every item I talk about today in the description below. So if you're interested, you can check that out. And with that, let's jump right into the video. So this is the current setup. This has not changed a whole lot the past couple years. It's been pretty consistent, but let's go ahead and just get started with, I think the main thing here, what the desk actually is. These are just two IKEA drawers. Units on either side with another IKEA tabletop. I believe this tabletop is called the Linman, but I'll go ahead and link everything down below so you won't have to go searching for it. So if you're interested, you can check out all the links down below. I'll link everything, all the most important stuff that I talk about in this video. Next up, I guess we'll cover the chair. This is actually just an Amazon buy, and I want to say it was about $300, but I mean, it feels like a $1,000 chair. This is one of the best I've ever used. I've gone through a number of chairs. It's the most supportive, great lumbar support, great back support, neck support, and it's just very comfortable. Like, you can sit in this all day, which I don't recommend, but if you are having to sit at the computer all day long, this would be a great chair to do it in. So, moving into some more of the hardware components of bottom. So first things first, the reference monitor we have here, this is the Flanders Scientific DM240, which I believe has been discontinued just because they've been upgrading and making new models. And I believe the DM250 is what took its place. If you just heard that, that's the chair. The only downside is it gets a little bit rickety, so if you have some WD-40, that might be needed just to get rid of those squeaks. So next up, the mic setup that I have here. Pretty simple. It's all running into an M-Audio interface, and what we're using is the Audio Technica AT2020. It's on a blue mic stand, which I think is pretty minimal and overall looks pretty good. The only downside is because of this right angle I want it to run, so we kind of keep it out of the way. I have this extra link here, so instead of it being completely flush with that XLR cable running all the way down into the audio interface, you kind of see it hanging off the side there. So it's not the most attractive, but it's a little bit better for shooting YouTube videos, and it keeps this a little more discreet. And then on the cover of this Audio Technica AT2020, we have just a quick little pop filter. This was like $9 on Amazon, but it's, again, very discreet because I also have these. This is my miscellaneous desk parts drawer, if you can't tell. These pop filters, I just don't like them. They're always in the way. They never go where you want them to. So if you're able to upgrade and fit one of these bad boys, it's much more discreet, which again, that's kind of the goal for this setup, is just taking up as little space as possible. It looks really great as a pop filter, and it doesn't look too bulky. So that's the audio setup. Again, the audio interface, which is back here, that is the M-Audio M-Track Duo. And again, I'll link all that down below. Next up, I'll go over my interface monitors, and they are two LG monitors. I think the UK 850 is what they're called, but those models get kind of updated every year, so I doubt that's still what they're called. But again, I'll link those down below. They are a 4K 27-inch monitor. They're fantastic. I've loved using them. They're very sharp. Colors are fairly accurate, and you can calibrate them. If you have a reference monitor here that's calibrated, you can get the colors pretty close. And there's also a gamma adjustment setting. It's got a few different modes, depending on what your intentions are with these two monitors. So that's worked really well, and it's been pretty easy to match colors and contrast to the reference monitor there. Now, for these stands, these are obviously floating monitor stands, floating monitor mounts, and they do a pretty good job with the cable management. These are some random Amazon brand. I don't know if they're still in existence. That's what's holding up this right LG monitor and the Flanders monitor. They are fully customizable, tilt position and everything, so they're really solid. Really robust, and they have a pretty good max payload. Then on the middle one, that one's not a floating monitor mount. Well, I guess you could kind of call it that, but it's not an arm. But that one just clamps to the desk, and it's pretty straightforward. We don't have to talk about cable management. It's not my strong suit, but it doesn't look too bad from the top. So next up, I guess I'll cover the speakers, and what I'm rocking here is the HK the Harman Kardon sound sticks. These are the sound sticks 2 with Bluetooth. I've had them for like 5 or 6 years. I've been meaning to upgrade these, but every time I get like to almost checking out with a new set of speakers, I'm playing music on these all the time, and they just sound so good. I can never bring myself to upgrade them because these sound so good. It's just 2 clear sound sticks, which is kind of as the name implies, and then the subwoofer down below and they sound incredible. They fill the room with sound, very crisp highs and very deep lows. So I've got just no complaints on these whatsoever. I've been wanting to upgrade, but I just can't bring myself to do it. They also kind of look cool. But for the price, I think it's like 140 bucks for these. They've been outstanding. Once again, they'll be linked down below. Next up, the big panel right here. This is, if you're not familiar with it, it's the Blackmagic mini panel, which is one step up above the micro panel, which is like $1,000, well, it used to be $1,000. They've reduced the price on all of them since then. So it's one step below the advanced panel, which is like 30 grand. This one runs for about 2,500. Maybe I'll leave it a little bit less if you can find it on sale. And it is a game changer when it comes to a professional colorist workflow. Without it, you're kind of forced to use a mouse and keyboard. And truthfully, it's just not as efficient. The speed gains that you're gonna see working with a panel like this, just being able to let your eyes communicate directly to your hands and let them kind of control the inputs. It feels a lot more natural than going mouse and keyboard. You don't have to look down as much. You can keep your eyes fixed on the screen while you make the adjustments or bounce from node to node, and that is invaluable, especially as a colorist that often works on very short timelines. A lot of my projects are very quick turnarounds, so the panel is a must-have. And then if you really want to supercharge this panel and get it even closer to the advanced panel, I recommend this right here. That's the Stream Deck XL, I think is what it's called. And it's also one of those things that just saved me a ton of time. You can program so many different controls into this. And basically the way this works is it's just a bunch of hotkeys, but each hotkey button is its own LCD backlit screen. So I can tap one button and it opens up a whole new array of the buttons and the hotkeys that I've preset it to do. So if you're unfamiliar with Stream Deck, definitely check those out. Those will be linked down below, but really big fan of the Stream Deck and just how much more effective and efficient I can be working with one. Now when it comes to keyboard and mouse, my other peripherals, I'm kind of going back and forth between the white one and the black one. I like them both, it just kind of depends on what mood I'm in, but I really have been a big fan of the Logitech. These are the MX keys for Apple. Really big fan of this keyboard, just the battery life is great. They're backlit to the touch, so as soon as you put your hands on the keyboard, you don't have to press a button. The backlight comes on, and that's customizable. But the battery life on these is like at least a month for me. Same for the mouse, possibly even longer. This is by far the best mouse that I've used, and I've tried a lot of them. I've got a drawer full right here. Everything in the back is just extra mouses right there. So speaking from experience, the MX Master mouses are some of the best, especially when it comes to wireless. They rarely have connectivity issues. And when you're actually trying to get work done, when a mouse starts having connectivity issues, that is one of the biggest productivity killers. And nothing will frustrate you like a mouse struggling to connect to your computer. Now, all of this is sitting on top of this Amazon, well, it's not an Amazon brand. It's a better brand, but I got it on Amazon. It's very similar to one of the more expensive brands, but the quality is not quite that high. But instead of paying $100 for this mat, I think I paid $25. $25. So it's a great size. They make them bigger or smaller than the one I have here. But overall, I've been very pleased with this. It doesn't show smudges or fingerprints or anything because it's wool, and it's a very smooth trackpad for the mouse. If I would change anything, I'd probably get one just a little bit wider, so I'd have a little more room to work with on either side. Now, you may be wondering what all of this is running off of, and it's actually all running off of my MacBook Pro. This is an M1 Max MacBook Pro, and one of the biggest reasons I've gone with this one is because I do like to travel a good bit, and having this setup, being able to be so portable, it's really handy. I think half of my work is done in this office, in the studio, but another half is kind of on the go. Not all of it is color. A lot of it is just editing or researching, scripting, emails and everything. So sometimes I don't want to be sitting in my office. Sometimes I'd rather be out on the back porch. And so being able to just unplug this one computer and take it anywhere in the world, allow me to do the same amount of work from anywhere is super handy. There's other ways to set up that kind of workflow, especially with all Apple devices, but this has just been the best for me and I prefer to do it that way. You also notice there's only 2 cables plugged into that. And that's because I'm using a CalDigit Thunderbolt 3 hub, which is right here. So everything that's plugged into this whole setup is running through this CalDigit Thunderbolt hub, and it's all plugged into the back of there, and then it all runs directly just with one Thunderbolt cable, because of the way Apple kind of innovated that Thunderbolt 3 port, the bandwidth for data and everything, it charges and does everything through that one cable right there. So if I need to take it out of here, I just unplug one cable and it's good to go. There's one more cable though on this left side, which is another Thunderbolt cable, and that one's just running to my Ultra Studio Monitor 3G, which takes the signal from DaVinci Resolve and converts it to SDI through a box in the back, and then runs that SDI cable into the back of this Flanders Scientific monitor, just so I can ensure I'm getting 100% accurate colors, all while still using a MacBook. I've done the PC route as well, ultimately just ended up switching back to Mac. So that's that setup there. Another cool thing about the Thunderbolt 3 hub right here, you've got access to, especially since I'm shooting on the C70, I use SD cards and they pop right into the front there. You can also plug in hard drives and headphones all right there, and super efficient way to minimize how much you actually need on the desk and maximize how much you can actually plug into your system, which again helps me with the efficiency of the whole operation here. And I've been very impressed with that hub as well. Now, it's not one of the cheaper ones, but it is by far, I think, one of the best you can find. And that's pretty much going to be it for the desk tour. The drawers are kind of just filled with, you know, not knickknacks, but stuff that I just kind of bounce to every now and then. Like, let's see, this top drawer is a label maker, some golf balls in case I decide to start putting around in here, a bunch of stickers that I've got made, some spare mouses in the back, got some miscellaneous cables, just parts cleaners, and then this is kind of the mess drawer, but really what it is like a collection of some audio equipment and grommets and different things for organizing cables and just making the desk look a little bit cleaner, new cable ties and all that kind of stuff. Same sort of thing over here, just hard drives, a charger, pins and all, some blue light blockers, which I don't use while grading, and then a remote for my Godox light, which is up here. That's my main key light. And then I've got some other random stuff. This is not very well organized, which is why I'm not too keen on doing a full desk walkthrough. Just some hard drives there, my main 2 backup drives, which I just plug in and back up. I run everything off of the MacBook. It's a 4 terabyte, so most of my jobs can be directly run off the MacBook hard drive. And then here we have a stylophone and a couple backup keyboards, because every now and then I may want to swap out keyboards. I'm kind of picky with that stuff. And then for the rest of the actual office itself, we've got a new tripod that I've been trying out. This one's actually a newer tripod. No joke, that's just the actual name. And I've been enjoying it. It's been a pretty good tripod, pretty good payload, very quality build. Obviously it's $110, so you're not going to be getting Sattler quality with a $110 tripod, but it does the job for me. It's usually just staying put right there, holding the camera and a teleprompter, which is right there, for if I script out a YouTube video, which I do half the time probably. And then we have that Godox SL60W with the big softbox right there on an Impact C-stand, which is from B&H Photo. So overall, I mean, I've got a few different C-stands. Some are newer, some are Impact, and Impact is definitely the superior quality of those two. So that's the key light that I use for my YouTube videos. And then for my edge light and fill, I've got these Nanlite Pavo tubes. So it's been really good, does a bunch of different effects, and it's full RGB. Been impressed with that. They're also magnetic. And then this is the one that I use for my edge light right here. Over here, I've also got this Cobalt tool chest, which just holds a bunch of my other kind of go-to tools and pieces of equipment. I'm just kind of running through that one's even empty. Got a bunch of spare parts here. Every time you buy a tripod or anything, you get like 47 extra screws. So I try and keep those organized in a tackle box there. And then we've got some rig building parts. I keep some of my parts for rig building right here, especially if they're not in my backpack. And then I've got some PC building parts. So not much special here. A couple iFixit kits, which are great for working on small parts. And then this is a Sigma lens case. I don't actually know why that's in there. That brings me to this bag, which is obviously a golf bag. This is from Vessel. It's one of their newer bags, and I'll be doing a review, I'll be doing a video for them pretty soon, covering some of the features of that bag, which I think will be pretty cool. Taking it out to a local course, and we'll be shooting some content with that bag. And then for my travel camera bag, I've got the Peter McKinnon Nomadic bag. It's expensive, but it is the best. But my mentality is kind of that buy once, cry once. I'd rather spend the money one time and have it last me a lifetime than buy cheaper and have to buy it over and over again. That's gonna do it for this video, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got a little bit of an insight as to what actually makes up a color grading suite. And again, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next one.